He who has nothing to hide has nothing to show. Intimacy is a mystery. Byung-chul Han. Do you feel the air thinning? The constant surveillance, the invisible eye, waiting for a secret, for a shadow, for something unrevealed. Why do we feel we need to expose everything about our lives to be validated? Think of your feeds, the public confessions, the behind the scenes of your life, all delivered, voluntarily. But what if this transparency is a trap, a silent dictatorship, where privacy is suspicion, and having no secrets becomes an obligation? What happens when the sacred space of interiority is invaded? By the demand for total exposure, you become the very cell of a prison where there is nowhere to hide, neither from yourself nor from others. Byung-chul Han, the philosopher who unveiled the Transparency Society, warns us, the beauty of mystery is lost, intimacy dissolves, and the soul atrophies. You were programmed for confession, for self-exposure, to believe that having nothing to hide is the path to freedom. But what happens when your deepest truth is thrown onto the stage of validation? It becomes currency, a product, data to be consumed. If this provocation hit you, if you feel the claustrophobia of this new demand, this video is a brutal mirror, ready to shatter the illusion, ready to fight for your last refuge. You weren't born to expose your soul. You were born with the right to mystery, to intimacy, to the sacred space of the unsaid. But you were programmed for transparency, for public confession, for the incessant pursuit of external validation. From an early age, they told you, hide nothing. Be open. Having no secrets is a sign of trust. This is behavioral engineering in its most insidious form, a system that forces you to be your own watchdog, to internalize the digital panopticon, transforming your privacy into a bargaining chip. You were conditioned to believe that exposure is connection, that public vulnerability is courage, that digital applause is love. Think of the familiarity bias. The more you see and know about someone, the more trustworthy they seem. This is amplified on social media, where superficiality becomes intimacy, and behavioral finance enters here brutally. The data industry of platforms. It capitalizes on your exposed life, your detailed profile, your most intimate habits, all monetized, transformed into profit for big tech. You spend your time, your energy, your attention, consuming and propagating the discourse of transparency. All of this to be seen, to be accepted, to feel like you belong. Robert Cialdini, in his Laws of Persuasion, shows how social proof, everyone's sharing, and authority, public figures expose everything, are used to manipulate your acceptance, that your life should be an open book. You were indoctrinated to love the prison of transparency because it promises acceptance, belonging, instead of the freedom to be complex, mysterious, humanly real. If this digital programming resonates with you, comment below. I question my exposure. You feel increasingly naked, exposed, with growing anxiety of being found out in your privacy. This is your internal fragmentation, the price of your soul surrendered to the dictatorship of transparency. The shadow, according to Carl Jung, is everything you deny within yourself, your most intimate secrets, your uncured imperfections, your right to the unsaid. They were silenced, pushed into the unconscious dark, in the name of acceptance, of digital trust, of others' applause. And what you repress controls you, sabotages you. Hence the obsessive need to share, the fear of judgment if there's no total exposure, the feeling that life is only real if it's public. Gabor explains that the trauma of disconnection from one's own intimacy, from the sacred space of the self, creates a vicious cycle of self-deception, where your own ability to discern what is personal and what is public atrophies. You project your shadow onto those who hide something, onto those who don't share enough, because seeing mystery in them means facing your own surrender, your own unfiltered life. Your identity becomes a storefront, an uninterrupted performance. You are not who you are. You are who the algorithm and society demand you to be validated, to be seen. How much of your life is spent maintaining this illusion of total transparency, in feeding the system that steals your soul? If this truth provoked you, comment below. I choose my intimacy. You seek freedom. But why do you feel so empty, even with the freedom to share everything? So much authenticity on display. So much connection unfiltered. Because this is false freedom, a prison disguised as a stage. The freedom to have no secrets, but not the freedom to have privacy, the freedom to expose yourself, but not the freedom to be truly intimate. The system sells you the illusion of absolute truth, of transparency as the highest virtue. It turns your need for trust into a dopamine trap of likes, of public approval, that never fulfill the yearning for real meaning. Think of the transparency industry. It doesn't need to force you to reveal. It just needs to reward exposure. Public confession, predictable and open behavior, and profit flows. This is intimacy capitalism. It profits from your private life, from your search for acceptance, from your aversion to having nothing to hide, your vulnerability, your data, all monetized by the engine of surveillance. Behavioral finance operates here brutally. How often have you given up sensitive data, personal information, in exchange for a free service, an instant benefit, not for true convenience, but from fear of missing out, from the illusion of being safe by having no secrets, from the desire to avoid suspicion? Daniel Kahneman taught us about normalization bias, the way constant exposure becomes the new normal. Your mind adapts, accepts, and you are framed in the narrative that privacy is archaic, and transparency, the path to truth. You are not deciding, you are obeying. The script of exposure, to maintain the order of validation, the stability of profit, the manufactured peace of your public life. But true freedom cannot be bought with confessions. It is conquered in the silence of your interiority, in the courage to protect what is yours, even if it's suspicious in the eyes of the system, even if it's a mystery. If this part resonated with you, comment here. I don't want to trade freedom for forced transparency anymore. Rupture isn't a confessional post. It's an act of strategic silence. It's when you stop obeying the dictatorship of transparency and start reclaiming your own sacred space. Authentic reconstruction begins in the silence of your interiority, in the courage to allow yourself to have secrets, to preserve mystery, to cultivate intimacy, without the need to curate or perform for the public. Gabor shows us, the root of our compulsion to expose is the trauma of disconnection, of the pursuit of validation that never arrives. The cure is reconnection with your own essence, with your ability to exist without external applause. This is true disobedience. Disobeying the culture that wants you naked, the voices that tell you to share everything, your own self-repression of privacy. It's a radical choice to abandon the false security of public acceptance for the uncertainty of your own integrity, an integrity that is priceless because it costs your open book identity. Jordan Peterson speaks about the responsibility of embracing your own order, of facing the chaos of what is not understood by others, and bringing coherence with your own truth. Your life isn't a feed, it's a sanctuary. You'll lose the fear of being suspicious. You'll stop sabotaging yourself with excessive self-exposure, because there will be no part of you thrown onto the stage, no vital energy wasted maintaining a facade of perfection. This is freedom, not the freedom to expose, but the freedom to be, in your totality, with your shadows, with your mysteries, without the surveillance of judgment, without the shackles of forced transparency. If you feel this is the moment to break through the walls of exposure, type in the comments, "The transparency programming ends with me," or send this video to someone living trapped in the storefront of life. The dictatorship of transparency, when having no secrets becomes an obligation, Why do we feel we need to expose everything about our lives to be validated? The contemporary demand for total transparency has eliminated the sacred space of interiority, transforming privacy into suspicion and constant exposure into social virtue. You are not an open book. You are not a public profile. You are not data to be consumed. You are a consciousness, capable of mystery, of intimacy, of being, authentic and profound. The price of freedom isn't speech, but the courage to break the silence the system imposed on you. The courage to preserve, to protect your most intimate self, to cultivate your sacred space. Choose your sovereignty, even if it's not shareable, even if it generates suspicion. This is your deepest freedom, to be who you truly are, beyond exposure, beyond the dictatorship of transparency, beyond the prison of external validation. If something awakened in you in this video, comment, "I see beyond the veil of forced transparency." Share this content with anyone living in fear of having secrets. And if you want to keep breaking cycles with me, subscribe now. The shadow you avoid controls you. Freedom only frightens, until you discover you were ready all along. Rupture is the beginning. Consciousness is the path to your interiority.